Well, I'm up on top of a Welsh mountain. Well, it's more of a big hill really, first thing this morning. I'm waiting for a sunrise, as you can see behind me. It looks absolutely spectacular, but I'm not actually going to be photographing that way. I am going to wait for the light to get up beyond the hills and hopefully hit Snowdon and the other mountains across from Llynmumba. It's still far too early to be setting up because I am shooting with film today. But I'm just enjoying being here, to be honest. As I said, I've lugged my Bronica SQAi camera up here along with all the lenses, the big tripod, plenty of water, plenty of food, all my filters. I've decided to go heavyweight today instead of the usual lightweight approach. Now, although it's a little bit dark to start shooting with film, I mean, I can shoot with film, there's absolutely no reason why, but my little preview devices are saying there's not really enough light hitting the mountains opposite now. When the sun gets up over my shoulder, over sort of this way, it will be worth taking a few early shots. Now, there's going to be no cloud in the sky today, which is tragic for landscape photographers, but as ever, I have a plan. Now, the light has come up a little bit more, as I'm sure you can see behind me. Let me just talk you through what I'm doing with this particular shot in terms of the camera and the metering. First off, the camera. Now, I have the Bronica setup with the standard lens, as I said before, but I've just flipped over to putting a little two-stop soft grad on there. Now, the reason is the sky is actually quite bright now. Ektar, the colour negative film, should easily be able to handle that dynamic range, but I want to give it a better chance of being able to recover as much detail as possible in the shadows. So I want to overexpose those slightly. That means the sky will go quite dense. Now, to give it an easier task when it comes to scanning and processing later, I'll just play down the sky with that little grad, very easy sky to grad. Secondly, my meter reading. Now, my meter reading is done with my SQAi spot meter, and I've taken a meter reading from the darkest areas of the frame, which are the little forest area of trees, some of the heather, and some of the gaps between the rocks, which are quite dark at the moment. And I've based my exposure off that. I've set that at what's known as a zone 3 and come up 2 stops from there. So I've taken the meter reading and then opened the lens up 2 more stops, effectively using the zone system, albeit with colour film. Well, I think I've had everything I'm going to get on the sunrise this morning. Anything else is going to be flogging a dead horse. The sun is super bright. I'm not even going to, well, I am going to spin you around. Go and have a look at that. Yeah, well, that's not really good light for photography. And it is just going to be gin clear skies today. But as I said, I am equipped with an idea, a plan. I may have to move off this hilltop though and get into the woods a little bit more. But I think I'll hang around a little bit just to watch the sunrise come up, if anything. Now, while it's lovely to have the Bronica with me today, a lovely big square format, huge surface area for printing. It weighs a bloody ton, and I got my big tripod with me, so negotiating these hills is a little bit more tricky, but I'm hoping it'll pay off with some better photos. Although the merits of light cameras are very appealing at times, like right now. Now, it's still super early, well, relatively early anyway, about an hour or so after sunrise, and I'm going for a leisurely plod on a trail up to a mountain, get some nice views. Actually got quite a nice little, tiny little lake behind me. Let me just spin you around and show you that. Very pleasant. One of the things about coming out on these rarely trodden walks is obviously you don't get many people, so having the place to yourself, space to think. Well, I have reached the highest point of my walk. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the mountain. I'll put it up here or somewhere. And as you can see behind me and all around me, it's absolutely beautiful. I am going to take a well-deserved break now. I'm not going to take any photos, just going to sit here for half an hour, have a snack, have a drink, and just take it all in. Even if it doesn't turn out to be a fabulous photography experience today, it's a memorable walk. What more can you ask for? Now it's been absolutely ages since I had a break. I've come down the mountain and I'm into a little gorge, not a gorge, I'm into a little bit of a valley between the various little mountain ranges. It's very beautiful, it's very, very warm. Far too warm really for wandering around with a big bag on, and I'm being very, very picky. I've tried a few compositions. I've been previewing, I've been stopping, I've been working things out, but they're just not strong enough, and I'm not prepared to snap away with film. I want something really strong. I'd rather have just a couple of images from today than half a dozen or even a dozen which are weaker. And also the amount of time it takes to set up the big camera, all the various little adjustments, etc. It's something you don't want to be doing for a mediocre shot. So just going to press on down this little valley here, and I am going to get something. I'm feeling confident now. The light's actually improving. Right, I've parked myself up now on a rock, and I've had something to, actually I don't want to hold you too close, I've had a bit of a garlic wrap. It's very nice, but yeah, so I'm going to now have a little recce around this area because it looks very promising. I'm not far from where I started off this morning, and there are a lot of trees and a lot of rocks, a lot of ferns, and I'm sure I can use those in a composition. So rather than lug the big bag and tripod, I'm just going to hop around on the rocks for 5 minutes and see if I can line something up. Well, my patience has well and truly been rewarded, and I've had to work very quickly, so I've taken a shot. Now behind me you could probably see, maybe in the distance, I'll put a longer shot up in a second, the Snowdon, and above it a lovely little patch of cloud. Now that cloud was moving and dissipating, so I had to get my camera set up quickly. Now what's worked for this shot, and the only reason it's worked, is because I've shot it in infrared. That's the secret, drum roll, for today. Infrared has tamed the sky, it's brought down the contrast levels, it's put some interest into the foreground, it's just generally made it a shot that's worth capturing. Now obviously if I'd have shot this with colour film it would just be, well, meh, total waste of time. So yeah, 150mm lens, R72 infrared filter, Rollei Infrared film, and I had to bracket because with infrared you really do need to bracket because it's not an exact science. And I've gone for 1 second, 2 seconds and 4 seconds at f16. Now it can be quite tricky to actually gauge what infrared film is going to capture. Sorry, I'm just struggling here. This is my little digital infrared camera. This is a Canon G15 I had converted a few years ago, about 5 years ago. And that shoots with the same wavelength, that's 720 nanometers, as I am using on my film camera. Now I use this to preview, I also use it to shoot infrared film, but I do prefer film as a general look. Now without this I would be guessing. Now you can make a fairly good guess as to whether the infrared is going to work or not by the angle of the sun. You really want it coming in at 90 degrees to the subject, and it is here, 90 degrees on, works really well. No use shooting into the sun with infrared, looks absolutely lame. Now the reason I wasn't taking any shots earlier with the infrared when I was coming through the valley and the wooded area is because it just looked too harsh. But the sky now has picked up a little bit of colour, there's a little bit of cloud in there, and the light as it's lifted has actually softened from that really, really directional early morning light. Now I really, really wanted to take more shots there of various other angles of the compositions. I'll flash some of them up now while I'm rambling on. But they weren't so strong. some of them were so close, really close, but you have to be careful with infrared. You get carried away, you get giddy when you see the effect. It's like, wow, that's fantastic, what a great shot. Well, you get it back later and you've got hundreds and hundreds of wow, fantastic shots that aren't fantastic, or wow. It's the infrared effect. It grabs your attention. So I didn't take any more, sadly, after about half an hour of trying. I'm just going to plod back along the trail now. I am going through another wooded area though, so I am crossing my fingers I'll be able to use some more of that roller film up. Well, there you go. I had hoped to get a few more frames, certainly with the infrared, but there just wasn't anything good enough, and I'm not wasting film, although I'll probably waste a lot of it while I'm developing it, because I'm not going to shoot it all now. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a good walk, and yeah, plenty of exercise. Got my eye in as well towards the end of the shoot there. Love that one of Snowdon. I hope it's come out okay. So anyway, thank you very much for coming along as usual, and I will see you again hopefully on the next trip.